I invented a guy, Chad. It's a guy, it's a streamer, and all March, he only plays Irish games in honor of St. Patrick's Day. That's pretty good. I think that could work, man. Such as, I don't know, man. There's got to be like 30 Irish games, man. What does he do in April? Rainy games where it rains. I invented a couple guys this weekend. So that's one guy. Another guy, guy whose abs come in bottom to top instead of top to bottom. So like he's got a 4-pack, but it's the 2 bottom abs instead of the 2 top abs. Ew. It is cursed. I don't know what it is. It's like it's just not natural. That's not a guy? Well, that's why I invented it. Electricity didn't exist until that motherfucker tied the key to the kite or whatever. You see it, right? Any more guys? Guy who's dying but won't accept maid because he has to make sure that he goes to heaven so he can suck the dick of the guy who invented the Egg McMuffin. That's way more +2s than I expected. I've been thinking a lot about heaven because honestly, this is the good daylight savings, and I still wanted to beat George Werner Hudson's ass, or whatever the fuck that New Zealand bug nerd who invented it is called. Ultimate daylight savings black pill. For me, there's 2 of them, 2 black pills. The Matrix could never. Okay? The first black pill is that I lived it for 25 years before I found this out. So I've been living with this information for 10 years and it still pisses me off. Finding out that daylight savings was not invented to give you an extra hour of evening daylight in the wintertime when the sun goes down early, but instead it was invented to give you an extra hour of evening daylight in the summertime when it's already sunny late, so that this nerd, when he finishes 9 to 5 at the clerk's office or whatever, could go out bug hunting in New Zealand. I don't give a fuck, okay? The other one was finding out that literally every single proposed reason that we still do daylight savings is questionable or debunked. Apparently, it does not save electricity. Farmers do not like it. I saw an interview with a farmer on the news, and he was standing in a room, like a barn, with all of his cows, and he says, all my cows are here because they think it's milking time, but they don't know that we're going to be waiting here for an hour until it's actually milking time. And I was like, buddy, I thought the farmers were the ones that were spearheading this whole fucking malarkey. It turns out the farmers are also like, this shit sucks ass. And like, this is the good daylight savings, man. Still, tell me why my daughter's on the fucking staircase at 4:46 a.m. saying, Daddy, it's time to wake up. And I got to try to explain to her, like, no, it's not. It's 4:46 in the morning. Go to bed. And she's like, why are you up? And I'm like, because it's fucking 5:46 in the morning. We just changed we're all playing pretend, honey. We're playing pretend until it feels natural again. We're pretending that it's a different time until our bodies adjust, and then it actually becomes a different time due to like our shared consensus. I still think the ultimate one, though, is that it's crazy that they extend the day in the summertime. Don't get me wrong, I like a late sunset, but like, it actually is kind of like a fuck you in the wintertime, man. It's like a double fuck you. The sun already goes down earlier, and then they're like, let's make it go down even earlier. I'm gonna be picking my kid up from school. It's gonna be fucking like pitch black. What the fuck, man? And then people were like, I don't want my kid to walk to school in the fucking dark. Do you have a kid who's in school? Nobody walks to school anymore. I don't know what the fuck happened, but I graduated from high school in 2006, okay? Now that's ancient history, but it's also not that long ago on like a societal change level. No school buses exist anymore. Every single school just has the parents drive them. It makes no sense to me. What the fuck happened to school buses, man? Now, instead of like one bus that takes 50 kids to school, you've got 50 SUVs lined up, and it takes a minute to drop off each kid. It takes you like an hour to drop your kid off in the morning. So don't even get me started on the fact that fucking the kids are walking to school. They're not walking to school. Well, not a high percentage of them anyway. Still a thing in Montreal? That would be crazy if there were roads that the buses could drive on. Unfortunately, there's only 2 seasons. Winter and construction. No offense, Montreal. We love you. Keep it up, guys. Keep it up. Fighting that good fight. Aren't you one of the ones driving your kids to school instead of taking a bus? I don't think you're listening to me, you LARPing motherfucker. There is no bus. The bus does not exist. So yes, we drive our kid to school because they have to go to school, but there's no bus. What happened to the buses, man? I'm coming for you. Why aren't there school buses anymore? It's giving me a lot of Vancouver results. Maybe this is just a Vancouver thing, man. It is, it's not. All right, thanks for the help. Washington Post, February 2nd, 2024, before they were washed. The school bus is disappearing. Welcome to the era of the school pickup line. Subscribe and save up to 70%. There's a sucker born every minute, Jeff Bezos. No thank you. I've already depicted you as the free news article and me as the Control-Shift-J user. Oh shit, they didn't know he was a web dev. Here in the US, they can't get enough bus drivers. I mean, that makes sense. It does seem like one of the worst jobs of all time. Not in an insulting way, but in the sense that, like, it doesn't pay you a lot of money. It carries a ton of responsibility. And my experience riding the school bus was that, like, you just get heckled by teenagers and middle schoolers, like, all drive, even though you're completely responsible for them getting home safely. It's just like it just seems like a thankless job. I mean, the parents are very thankful, I'm sure, but, like, the kids are very, very ungrateful. My driver in middle school was a bully that liked yelling at kids. Your driver in middle school probably is like a 1 in 100. He's an epic to legendary bus driver. Every other bus driver I had just got mercilessly mocked by the students. And you can't do anything. Like, what are you going to do? You can't punish the kids because, like, the punishment is, what are you going to say? Like, I'm going to stop the bus? Then your ass is just trapped in there with those kids even longer, man. The driver was on, like, crash out watch every single day. It might, I don't know. I mean, I grew up in, I'm trying to think of how to describe it. Maybe you could call it like the crucible that could have birthed Canada's Haley Welch. From age, I don't know, 5 to about age 14, I basically grew up in Canada's version of the American South. So the kids were a little rowdy. Napanee, pretty much. You did not grow up in Alberta? I grew up in a place that wishes it was Alberta. Like, aspirationally, culturally, they have more overlap with, like, Fort McMurray, Alberta, than they did with Toronto, Ontario, for sure. Isn't Kingston a tourist town? I didn't grow up in Kingston. I grew up like 40 minutes outside of it. In the same way that, like, you know, once you get 40 minutes outside of Minneapolis, St. Paul, well, it's going to be a divisive week. We don't necessarily need to get into it. Why do you say you're from Kingston then? Because none of you motherfuckers know where Greater Napanee is, okay? It's the same shit when you meet someone from Vancouver. You're like, where are you from? And they're like, Vancouver. And they're like, where are you from? And you're like, I'm from Kingston. They're like, where is that? And I'm like, Ontario. And they're like, oh, so Toronto? And you're like, yeah, okay, motherfucker, Toronto. Sure, it's 3 hours away, but whatever. Might as well be Belleville. Put some respect on Bell Vegas, please. That's where the Hawkins Cheesy Factory is. And, like, one of the last jumbo videos, I think, that existed in Canada. The what? The Hawkins Cheesy Factory, motherfucker! Extruded cornmeal with powdered cheddar cheese put on top of it. The only snack that still has trans fats and advertises it as such. Hawkins Cheesies go fucking hard. Corey, you are welcome to this country. You're a naturalized citizen. You're absolutely right. Hawkins Cheesies are delicious. They're a snack, so it's obvious they're bad for you, but they are worse than almost any other snack that you can eat, apart from, like, a cooling rod from a nuclear reactor. But they taste good, man. They taste good. Heart and soul. It's got a lot of heart and soul. I don't know the rest of the words, but it's got a pretty good bass line, heart and soul. My wife is streaming Mahjong Mondays Pog. I'll send you right over to her stream. Hope you have a great rest of your Monday night. I'll see you tomorrow for Dome Keeper. A scrammy dirt 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 dirt.